This is the BLACK+DECKER small portable washer. I just wanted to share my experience with this in case anyone else is considering it, especially if you live in an apartment, a condo, a small house, or anywhere you don't have washer hookups and you're tired of hauling bags to a laundromat. I've been using it as a real, regular washer, not as a sometimes backup, and I think that's the only way you really learn what works and what gets annoying. What this is, in normal terms, is a portable, top-loading washing machine that you can roll into place, hook to a sink faucet, run a load, and then put it back out of the way. The reason I even tried a unit like this is simple. I wanted something that could handle everyday laundry like shirts, towels, workout clothes, and bedding without needing a permanent install. The capacity matters here. At 2.0 cubic feet, it's in that zone where it doesn't feel like you're washing 3 t-shirts at a time. I can do a full set of sheets in one go, and I can do a decent amount of towels without immediately hitting the limit. I still treat bulky items with some respect, because stuffing it too full is when portable washers tend to act up, especially on the spin. In person, it's a tall, slim machine with a clean white body and a transparent lid. The lid being see-through sounds like a small thing, but in day-to-day use, it actually helps. I can glance over and tell if the load is circulating normally or if something got stuck to one side. The lid also closes softly. It doesn't slam, which I appreciate in a small space where noise feels louder than it should. The control panel is straightforward. It's an LED display with cycle lights. I don't stand there admiring it, but I can read it easily, and it's not confusing once you've run a few loads. Build-wise, the drum is stainless steel, and that's one of the reasons I felt okay using it long-term. I've used small washers with plastic tubs before, and they tend to hold on to smells and look scratched up quickly. This one has felt solid so far. It's not light though. It's around 80 pounds, and portable really means rollable. It has rollers and side handles, and on a hard floor, I can move it by myself. On thicker carpet, it's more of a struggle, and I have to be careful not to yank it weirdly and twist the hoses. If you're thinking you'll carry it up and down stairs, that's not realistic for most people. Setup is a mix of easy and slightly picky. The whole system depends on your faucet situation. If you have a standard sink faucet, the quick connect works fine, and you can click the hose on and off without tools. If you have one of those modern pull-out sprayer faucets, you might need an adapter. I ran into that. It wasn't a deal breaker, but it turned what should have been a 5-minute setup into a why doesn't this fit moment. Once it's connected, you still have to think about where the drain hose goes. I've drained into a sink, and I've drained into a tub. The biggest practical rule is the drain hose height. If you lay it too low, it can siphon and you'll wonder why the washer isn't filling properly. If you jam the hose somewhere and it kinks, the machine will complain and stop. After a couple cycles, I got my routine down. I place the drain hose securely, make sure it won't whip around when the pump runs, and then I start the load. Daily use is mostly simple. You choose a cycle, pick a water level, and pick temperature. I'll mention the temperature settings in a real-life way. On a portable washer like this, the machine can select hot, warm, or cold. But if you're connecting to one faucet, you're still basically in charge of what comes out of that tap. If I want warm, I set the sink to warm. If I want cold, I set it to cold. The washer isn't magically creating hot water. That's not a flaw, it's just how these work. Cycle options cover what I actually use. Normal for most loads, heavy for dirtier stuff like gym towels, delicate when I'm washing things I don't want to get beat up, quick when I'm doing a small load that isn't very dirty, bulky for larger items, and spin only, which I've ended up using more than I expected. Spin only is handy when something comes out wetter than I want, or if I hand wash something and just want it spun out. The wash action is impeller-based, not an old-school agitator with a post in the middle. In practice, that means clothes don't wrap around the center column, and I see less tangling, especially with long sleeves and lighter fabrics. For me, the biggest benefit is that it's easier on clothes. I've washed underwear, athletic wear, and baby items in it, and nothing came out twisted into a rope. It still cleans. I'm not going to pretend it's identical to a full-size machine in a dedicated laundry room, but it's gotten my daily laundry clean enough that I don't think about it afterward. Noise is worth talking about, because people buy these for small spaces. During the wash portion, it's pretty manageable. I hear water movement and a steady motor sound, but I can still work in the same room. The spin is louder, and it can get shakier depending on the load. This machine has auto unbalance detection, and it definitely intervenes. I've watched it pause and try to redistribute when I wash something heavy like a towel load mixed with a hoodie. If it can't balance, it won't just spin itself to death. It stops and forces you to fix it. That's good for the machine, but it can be annoying if you're trying to run a load and walk away. I've learned not to mix one heavy item with a bunch of light stuff, and I don't overload it. When I load it evenly, the spin is strong and it pulls out a lot of water. Clothes come out damp, not dripping, and that cuts down drying time a lot if you're hanging things indoors. I also want to mention something that surprised me. This washer is sensitive to being level. If the floor is even slightly off, the spin vibration gets worse. It has adjustable leveling legs, and it's worth taking a couple minutes to get it right. Once I leveled it properly, the walking dirty spin was much less of an issue. Before that, it could shift a bit, especially on a slick surface. I've used the delay start a few times when I knew I'd be home later and wanted the wash to finish closer to when I could move clothes to a drying rack. It works as expected. There's also a child lock, which I didn't think I'd care about, but it's been useful in a different way. It prevents accidental button presses when I brush past it in a tight space. One thing I need to be clear about: there is no mobile app here. Nothing connects to Wi-Fi, nothing pings your phone. If you want app control, this isn't that kind of appliance. Personally, I don't mind. With something like laundry, I'm usually nearby anyway because I'm managing the hoses and the drain location, so phone control wouldn't change much for me. Over time, the little maintenance habits matter. I check the lint filter and clean it regularly. If you ignore that, drainage can get slower and you'll start troubleshooting problems that aren't really problems. I also wipe down the lid area and the rim after use, because in a small apartment, you notice smells faster if moisture sits. And when I first unboxed it, I did have to wipe the drum and run a quick rinse spin before washing clothes, just to feel confident everything was clean and free of packing dust. So overall, here's my honest impression after actually living with it. The biggest strength is that it lets me do normal-sized laundry loads at home without needing hookups, and the spin is strong enough that drying is easier. It's also fairly gentle on clothes because of the impeller design. The biggest limitations are that it's heavy for a portable appliance. The faucet connection can be a headache if your sink hardware is modern or non-standard. And you need to pay attention to leveling and load balance if you want quiet, stable spins. If you're okay with those realities, it's a practical solution that can replace a lot of laundromat trips. Please check the comments section for detailed information about the BLACK+DECKER small portable washer.